Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk pre-Ant-Man and the Wasp update event preparations. First, want to talk about the tokens and the event shop. In total, we're going to be getting 350 tokens because we're getting 5 per day for 7 days. Hopefully, you've already gotten the first 100 by completing these fairly basic quests. For the world boss, as I always mention, it's just participate, so even if you have a brand new account, you can just die 5 times with your 1 6-star character or 3 6-star characters, and you'll get that one unlocked. And of course, I still have to do my daily trivia, but I'll get that done later on. As far as the event shop goes, knowing that we have 350 tokens, you can probably wait until the last day to spend them all. The advantage to waiting until the last day is that we might get the patch notes before the event shop expires. It's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility. So you could get a better idea of who's going to be stronger, Giant Man versus Wasp. Hopefully they'll both get more powerful upgrades slash uniforms, but that's, not something we can guarantee. However, the disadvantage to waiting until the last day is that I know some of you, and I have done this in the past, forget to spend your tokens and you lose them because once the shop expires, it's gone forever and you don't get to use those tokens again because next time they'll use different tokens. So please be aware and be careful. As far as what to get with the tokens, I think almost everything is fair game except for the gold. I think the gold is just a massive rip-off. Unfortunately, it's just too expensive in terms of the number of tokens. With only 350 tokens, you really don't want to spend, 60% of your tokens to just get 2 million gold, which is as much as you're getting here. It's actually, no, 1.4 million gold. It's super weak. As far as what's really good, I think the Black Antimatter and the Chaos Nordstones are very, very solid, especially at the price. 40 for 10 is great. If you think about it, you're getting 120 Black Antimatter or 120 Chaos Nordstones for the equivalent of 200,000 gold. Or sorry, yeah, exactly, 200,000 gold, which is a steal. So I will be personally getting all of the Black Antimatter and all of the Chaos Nordstones. It's 70 and 70, which means it's only 140 of these Ant-Man tokens, which then leaves me with an additional 210 tokens, which is the exact number of Wasp bios I'm going to get. Because I'm going to load up on Wasp bios even though I don't need them. I already have more than 800 bios for both Giant Man and Wasp. The bios are not particularly valuable because you can get them from any kind of biometric selector, which includes Shadowland and Alliance Shop, Alliance Store bios, but you also get them from the Dimension Rifts, which are super easy and super relevant, and you're there anyways for comic cards and uniform upgrade kits and angel bios, so you could just roll different Dimension Rifts and get them. But I am going to be getting them so that I have extra bios in case I use a uniform ticket on one of these characters, or I just have leftovers so I can use them to get someone to level 70, because bios are the new currency for XP from level 60 to 70. So that is another thing to think about. So I'll be getting in total 420 Wasp bios, in addition to the 280 BAM and the 280 Chaos Nordstones. The selectors for the Nordstones are not as strong, but especially if you're a new player and you're trying to get ahead on the epic quests, it is a possibility. And then the Dimension Debris is always nice for those of you that don't have a VIP level, that don't get additional Dimension Debris from co-op or anything like that, and you need them desperately to gear up characters past level 15 for their 4 gears. So it's definitely something to think about, but I would go for these two first. I think that they're very valuable, and I wouldn't miss out on them if you can help it. Very quickly and briefly, I do need to once again commend Netmarble on the absolutely delicious artwork for these tokens. Man, do they put a lot of effort, and it looks so cool. I just really enjoy that. Additionally, I do want to shout out to some people that are smarter than I am, and again, even more hawk-eyed than I. Yesterday, with the sneak peek, I talked about the watch in the corner of the drawer being potentially Doctor Strange's, but that was debunked because apparently, and I haven't seen the movie in years, so I don't remember, that drawer is basically a shot-for-shot drawer of Hank Pym's drawer in the original Ant-Man movie, besides, of course, the Uru signal and or kind of image symbol and the tier 3 symbol. The rest of that was there, and it was from that drawer that Hank Pym grabs the tank on a keychain, which he later uses to get them out of a kind of tricky situation and to kind of bust out of that building, I think, or Maybe it was outside the building. But either way, yeah, so very sharp eyes there to whoever noticed that and whoever posted it on Reddit and posted it and sent me messages online and stuff like that. That is really great, and it's very nice to see the community getting behind sneak peeks and kind of dissecting them, and I really enjoy this kind of stuff. And it not only shows how good we are, but it also shows, again, and I know some of you aren't going to want to hear this, but Netmarble is on the ball. These sneak peeks have been tremendously amazing and full of little tidbits and Easter eggs and kind of red herrings. It's just been fantastic. Lastly, nothing else to do here but to put some Ant-Man content for you guys ahead of his tier 3. I got 1 speed book today, so I'm up to 6, which puts me in pretty good standing for getting him to tier 3 as soon as he comes out, and that's the goal, given how much I really just enjoy the character and not going ahead with tier 3 Spider-Man. I know some people were expecting me to get tier 3 Spider-Man or expecting me to get tier 3 Iron Man. I also think I am going to skip out on tier 3 Iron Man just because it's a pain enough as it is to get 10 blast books from Cull Obsidian's stage, and it's not a very fun stage to play, so it's just something that I'm going to save up rather than use up for the time being. Now, for this Ant-Man clear, I do have a damage proc. I have max crit damage. I have 198% crit damage. I only have about 47%, I believe, crit rate, so the crit rate could be higher, but with 50% ignore dodge and with the, I think I have a rank 170 or 180 Ant-Man, so top 200 Ant-Man, this is the kind of damage output that you're seeing. And the skills just suffer from a lot of the old style effects where there's just long animations, very few hits, lots of just very basic skills where there's just punching and or stomping and just not much else. There's not really much flash. He doesn't have any self buffs aside from, I think there's a buff on his 5th skill, or there is a buff on his 3rd skill. There's a debuff for the enemy on his 3rd skill for sure because they shrink, but there's also the 4th skill, his passive effect, when he uses the miniaturize kind of Pim effect. But the other part I like about this, well, I used to like it, but it's not happening now, is I can shrink Corvus with the 3rd skill because these bosses, unlike the regular world bosses, are debuffable. And there we go. We have tiny Corvus. We have shrink off. And that's just amazing. And I think that's the one skill. Because I said it yesterday, I want Netmarble to give Ant-Man a uniform, and I want them to change his skills around, and I still do, but I want them to keep that 3rd skill. I want to be able to shrink my enemies. I want tiny baby Corvus, and I want to battle him in the quantum realm. So maybe we can get even smaller, and, okay, I just died. That's great. So not only the duality of the lack of damage for Ant-Man, but also the lack of survivability when the player is not paying attention, and also when Ant-Man doesn't have his tier 2 passive up, he just becomes a complete liability. And you know, Netmarble will help any Ant-Man fans if Ant-Man doesn't get a buff, and then one of these world bosses eventually has ignore dodge, because then Ant-Man will literally have nowhere left to hide, and that's just not something that should be the case. Ant-Man should always have a way out because that's who he is. He's Ant-Man. As far as Giant Man goes, I never really talked about buffs for him, but I do wonder if there are any Ant-Man or Giant Man fans out there and what you guys expect from the Pimtron uniform, what you guys expect or what you'd want to see have happen to the character in terms of different effects. I don't think we're really going to see penetration for these characters, which is kind of a staple premium stat, but it is a possibility because they do go, they get really small, as you guys know. So that's, you know, there is one way to justify it in that sense. You know, there's the justification of penetration for characters like Winter Soldier because they have those sniper rifles and they have those kind of huge bullets and all that stuff. But what do you say and how do you justify it in the case of someone like Ant-Man or someone like Giant Man or someone like Wasp? Can they be meta characters without that effect? What other effects could they get that could make them meta besides Wasp's debuff and just besides massive tier 3 stat upgrades? I really can't think of too much else unless a new stat mechanic is introduced, which I don't think is going to happen, but No one really thought Ant-Man was going to succeed as a movie in the first place, and here we are with a sequel to that movie. So let me know what you guys think of all of those questions, or some of them, or none of them, if you didn't really take to any of them. Let me know what you think of the event shop and the tokens and what you're going to spend them on, and if you hope Ant-Man gets the best kind of buff out of this update, or Giant Man, or Ghost, or Wasp, or someone else, or Thor. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my content. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.